As poll after poll after poll shows that Donald Trump is objectively the most unpopular president in modern American history, and that his first 100 days back in office have been an abject disaster, some MAGA Republicans in and out of office, be they MAGA Republican congresspeople or Fox News hosts, are instead choosing to have psychotic breaks on air instead of dealing with the reality of Trump's unpopularity and reversing course. Instead, insisting that either the polls are fake or, we have to give him more time. 100 days can't capture the brilliance of Donald Trump. And I can't wait to show you some examples. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, as bad as Fox News is, I think it's always worse when elected Republican lawmakers behave in dishonest and dangerous ways, like Representative Mary Miller here, who during an interview seems to be struggling with basic reality about Trump's situation.
Tell me, do you find people that voted for Donald Trump that say, gosh, I just wish I'd voted for Kamala Harris?
Absolutely not. I have not met one of them. And even people that are feeling a little pain from the tariffs are completely supportive of what President Trump is doing. They know that President Trump understands how to use the leverage that our country has to secure better deals around the world for us, and even to secure cooperation with Canada and Mexico to secure our borders and to stop the flow of drugs into our country. So they're 100% behind him. And they understand it takes time. The left are liars, and the legacy media, they lie. I don't know what to say.
And Donald Trump has called that.
Do you see, this lady's a psychopath. I mean, having an absolute, psychotic break from reality here in her desperation to kiss Trump's ass, lest she be called a rhino. One more time. Watch this. It's so painfully awkward.
Liars. And the legacy media, they lie. I don't know what to say.
Wow. Very persuasive, Representative. Very persuasive. I mean, she's a loser who should be made fun of. I'll also point out that she's also, in addition to being deeply delusional, aggressively authoritarian. So as we discussed in a previous video, Trump announced that he wants to reopen, renovate, and expand Alcatraz, the infamous island prison in the San Francisco Bay near the Golden Gate Bridge. And she says the first person who should be sent to Alcatraz should be Anthony Fauci, who was appointed to his position in terms of helping manage COVID. He served under Donald Trump. I should say that he initially came into office under President Reagan and then served every president, Republican or Democrat after that, was elevated to overseeing COVID by Donald Trump, and MAGA hates his guts as a consequence of a extraordinarily successful vaccine that Trump can't now take credit for because his base hates it, because there's a virulent strain of anti-vax conspiracism among the Republican Party, even though studies have shown that Republicans were much more likely to die as a consequence of COVID because they didn't get the damn vaccine. So that's that part of the GOP is just a death cult, and she's playing into it, unfortunately. Really creepy, stupid stuff. But it's not just MAGA Republican lawmakers like Mary Miller and Marjorie Taylor Greene, probably, I was going to say Chip Roy, but Andy Biggs, people. It's not just that, okay? You also have Fox News hosts. Okay, they're struggling with it. Mediaite, or Media Matters, discusses Fox News anchor claims Trump has great majority support on immigration and deportations. Fox's own polling says otherwise. So we'll play this short clip here of just an example of Dana Perino, not a Republican lawmaker, but a MAGA Republican on Fox, desperate for everyone to believe that, no, listen, Trump's doing all right.
With regard to immigration, which is really Miller's, that's his breadbasket. That's where he seems to take the most interest in. You heard him at the end there talk about whether you're legal or illegal in America. That's the defense that this administration is going to come back on all the time. He said this: there will be not 1 ounce of sympathy from this administration for gang members here illegally in the United States. And this will be a priority now for this administration, not just today, Dana, not for this week or for this month, but for the entirety of this term. And we're going to see how it goes.
And if I could just add, when you are assessing the poll numbers of the first 100 days, it is the immigration, border security, and even deportations that has them still with great majority support.
Yeah.
except that's not true. According to Fox's own poll again, and Fox, they point out, Media Matters points out that, let's see here. This contradicts Fox's own polling released at the end of April, which showed that a majority of Americans disapprove of Trump's overall job performance, and he's underwater on immigration and deportations specifically. They do note his only positive category in the Fox poll. Trump has a 55% approval on border security. So she was wrong on 2 points, right on 1, but she can't help but pat it, right? Oh, the polls, he's extremely popular. Ignore what the polls say, or just radically misinterpret what the polls say altogether. And speaking of Media Matters and denialism among Fox, there's this really good transcript in the New Republic in which Matt Gertz of Media Matters is interviewed by, I think, Greg Sargent, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at this. Fox News visibly rattled as Trump's slide in polls worsens. As Fox News personalities work overtime to shield their viewers from Trump's deepening unpopularity, a shrewd observer of right-wing media explains the deeper problems this reveals for the MAGA movement. We're not going to read the whole thing, but just to get the gist of it. Faced with Donald Trump's sliding poll numbers, Fox News personalities have hatched a variety of tactics. I'll open this 5 ways that MAGA or media are explaining the Trump poll collapse. Again, the polls are fake. That's one way to do it. The polls are a psyop. Steve Bannon turned to Rasmussen Reports pollster Mark Mitchell to explain Trump's polls on Monday. Quote, all day, Mitchell, they're going to be bombarding us on the 100th day that Trump is the most unpopular president in 100 years. Mitchell responded by claiming that, quote, there's a psychological operation going on, right? These polls are manufactured to screw with Trump and MAGA. The polls are only bad for now because, quote, Trump's agenda is not built for 100 days. This one is referenced in what I'm about to read for you. On Fox and Friends, Brian Kilmeade rejected the premise of us looking at Trump's poll numbers at this point during his administration. Quote, when you look at the 100 days of Trump, the problem with the 100 days and looking at the polls, this format and his agenda is not built for 100 days. He's redoing the base. He's framing out the house. A lot of it was rotted. Now he's replacing it. There's not a lot of glory in framing a house. Kilmeade added, quote, that Trump is, quote, rebuilding and he's got a plan, urging viewers to look ahead to potential trade deals and passage of Trump's tax agenda. Now, again, Kilmeade would never be so generous with a Democratic politician, which is why you should make fun of him and move on and disregard everything he says. Actually, the polls are not bad. Fox contributor Ari Fleischer highlighted Trump's continued support from his political base and downplayed his low job approval numbers from the overall public. Quote, the base will not crack. The base is solid for Trump, and they understand he's got a lot of high hurdles because he's put high hurdles in front of himself because he's taking on consequential big issues that have been neglected for so long. Fleischer went on to claim, quote, that the average of all the polls show that Trump has a 45% job approval. It's not bad. In our modern polarized era, 45% job approval is middling, but it's not the stuff of doom, gloom, negativity, or decline. It's just the way modern politics is. It's impossible to not see this administration as a huge success. Again, Maria Bartiromo said, quote, there's no other way to look at this first 100 days than a huge success, except obviously the facts say otherwise. But if you ignore the facts and only factor in MAGA feelings, I suppose it is. But, you know, in this article with Matt Gertz, by Greg Sargent, they talk about this, that Fox is really just obligated at this point in terms of clinging to their viewer share. They can't afford to drive away MAGA. This is what put them in the position of defending, or at least not rigorously refuting, Donald Trump's 2020 election lies, which one thing led to another that resulted in a lawsuit by Dominion Voting Systems that was apparently so successful that despite robust First Amendment protections afforded to Fox, Fox opted to settle in the biggest defamation case in the history of biggest defamation settlement in the history of American politics, paying Dominion nearly $800 million. The reason that they did that isn't because these Fox hosts believe that the 2020 election was stolen. They knew better, and they knew that Trump and Trump's allies were totally full of shit and that they had no evidence for their claim, but they were afraid of losing Trump viewers and Trump voters. And so this is Fox News and other places just being forced into, I shouldn't even say forced because that implies they have no agency and they didn't contribute to this. They absolutely contributed to this, but they are in this position because they aided and abetted and enabled Donald Trump's worst impulses for the sake of viewer share. They refuse to tell their audience the truth when they had more influence than what they do. As a consequence, Trump has usurped control of the right wing in this country, and the Republican Party in particular, such that Fox and other Republicans are only valuable. Other Republicans like Representative Mary Meeks, who should also be honest, that their only currency with their base is if they signal boost and co-sign everything Trump does. And so when Trump is being hit by these terrible polls as a direct consequence of his own actions, they have to lie to your face and, again, look like, in the case of Mary Meeks in particular, but others well, almost look like they're having a psychotic break from reality. Oh, the left lies, the legacy media lies. I just don't know. I don't know what to say. How about the truth, Representative? How about the truth, Fox News? Maybe start with that. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.